Christopher Titus, and this is still the Armageddon Update. Today, I need to talk to you about this here update. You know, after watching all the voices on the 140 news channels and the propaganda shows, it can kind of tucker you out. With the millions of podcasts, Twitter and Facebook and Reddit, there are a billion voices screaming into the bullshit void, and if you are trying to figure out which one is right, it might take a million years, or you could just Google it in 3 seconds. See, that's the problem. You can either look for respected news outlets with reputations and Pulitzer Prize winning writers, or you can look for comedians like me. The Armageddon Update has tried to always be factual and funny, truthful, and yet still make you titter. I like to think we scream from the sane center. We here at the Titus Podcast / Armageddon Update love this country and the freedom to joke about douchebags that don't love it as much as we do. We also love it enough to make it better. You can love something, people, and still call it out for its pure bullshit. I'm looking at you, Uncle Matt. I mean, for God's sakes, nobody can get a handle on a crystal meth addiction.
How about me?
And no one was attacking you, Matt. It was an intervention. Get some help, Uncle Matt. We love you. Also, you and your piece of street booty are not invited to Thanksgiving. I'm tired of the extremes in the country screaming the loudest because they're not the majority, the middle, the people that pay their taxes, that think everybody deserves rights, freedom, and safety. We just don't bitch as loud because we all have lives and jobs, and we just want to have a drink once in a while and hit the movies.
Everyone respects the gun.
Those people don't watch the news obsessively to the point of ruining their health. I do. We will always search for facts so we can help this country find its perfection again here on the Titus Podcast. We have always screamed sanity insanely. We have made salient points stupidly. We have beaten back the bitches from their bunker, and we've done it beautifully. From the far, far left, who can't seem to have a conversation about race or gender without focusing on the incorrect pronoun.
My room does not have a flag. I took it down during COVID because it made me uncomfortable. My kid today goes, hey, it's kind of weird that we just stand and then, we say it to nothing. In the meantime, I tell this kid, we do have a flag in the class that you can pledge your allegiance to. And he looks around and he goes, oh, that one?
Who can't see a comedian telling a joke without seeing an attack. And yes, I will read your comments in the YouTube section where you can leave hate for me. To the far, far right, who honestly is the craziest group of conspiracy-believing anti-American scumbags I've seen in my time on this dying rock, all of you will continue to be on blast until you clean up your disingenuous drama. We will point you out until you start working for all of us again. We're going to hammer you. Because until we are back on the track in America, where we no longer wake up and wonder if a political party is spreading lies that lead to Americans dying, or is planning to shoot Americans who don't agree with them.
When do we get to use the guns? No, and I'm not, that's not a joke. How many elections are they going to steal before we kill these people?
We will be here mocking you and naming you out loud. However, if you stop being anti-American, anti-humanity, and join us, then one day, God willing, we here at the Armageddon Update will go back to doing fart jokes.
Gee, how about some more beans, Mr. Taggart? I'd say you've had enough.
I'm Christopher Titus, and this is the Armageddon Update. All right, I think I've established dominance. Excellent. Hey everybody, Titus Podcast. How you guys doing? With me, as always, the lovely bombshell Ray.
What's up, people?
And the Highlander.
There could be only one.
Yes. Well, today we're going to have two. We have a guest coming in. Laurie Kilmartin is
Get out of here.
a very funny comedian.
I just
She's
made
coming
this
in.
coffee.
We're going
Nope.
to talk her. So we're going to kick Highland out later. And coming up next, Laurie Kilmartin. You can come back.
Sayonara.
Stop it.
Bye, everybody.
See
It's like the end of Old
later.
Yeller. What just happened?
You go now.
With us today, a very funny comedian who I've known quite a while, Miss Laurie Kilmartin.
Hi.
How are you? We've got a
I'm
writer on
great.
Conan, by the way. Your new album is coming out. I heard
No,
your new
it's
album.
out. It's
It's
out. It's
out.
out.
Oh, sorry, it's out.
It's called
I don't-
Corset.
Okay,
Yeah.
I made a tiny
Men
mistake.
can't remember
I know,
details because
I know.
you just said
It's
it.
because he
Speaking
doesn't
of
have
that,
a uterus.
yes.
There was
so-
the funniest video Rex Chapman did today. There is it's kids. They're teaching these kids how to march in like third grade, and they cut to the boys.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see that?
I did.
All the boys are off and looking like dorks. As they cut back, there's 8 girls behind them. Look, it literally looks like they're like 6, and it's like a drill corps. It's pretty
That's
crazy,
about right.
pretty crazy. So I listened to your album on the way over because I didn't want to be the guy who didn't know. So tell me about your album, and you were killing me. You do. I wanted
Thank
to tell.
you.
So Ray and I, Ray's doing comedy. She's 11 years in now,
Mm-hmm.
and so many comics will do a long setup with very few punchlines and just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And I always tell when comics go, how do you write stories? I go, you have to have every sentence is just a setup for a punchline. And you do that every time. Like it's so
Yeah.
dense with jokes.
Good.
You guys got to get the album.
Thanks. Yeah. I do feel like if you're giving the audience information, there needs to be a punchline after the end of it.
Yeah, all the
And
time.
I just did Corden last week. Okay.
Which is great. I watched it.
Thank you. And so I had to open with a joke I don't usually open with. And it usually comes after a bit about my son being a teenager. So I don't have to say I have a teenage son. And I'm like, oh shit. And now I got to say I have a teenage son. I'm worried about him seeing porn. And
Yeah.
normally I just go right into I'm worried about him seeing porn. And I was really stressing out about like this is too much. Like I should have had a short joke, but I just didn't have one yet.
That's so rare.
But you would have written a joke for I have a teenage son.
Anything just lets the audience know so they have that image in your head. Then you go to the next thing. It's like, oh yeah, that child that she just created for me.
Yeah.
Okay, we're still talking
Right.
about
Yeah.
him.
So
I
You
loved
give them-
your Corden set, by the way. That
Oh,
was
thanks.
great.
Thank you.
I have a teenage son. So I will take the blame for the future. Just something, just to get them to go. Are you right? That guy. But I love doing that. I love having
Yeah.
a sentence and going. I always saw someone told me a long time ago about blowing the feather up. You just never let the feather hit the ground.
Yeah, that's
And
a great
and
analogy.
so-
I've never heard that before.
Yeah. So even sometimes comics, it's not that funny. I go, no, it's funny enough to get to the big punch that's coming 2 jokes later.
Right,
Just
right.
keep it going. So tell us about Corset. What made you like finally just release an album? You just finally had enough material. Do you work the road a lot?
When I was writing for Conan, I would work the road every hiatus. I would take road work. So I always had like 12 road weeks a year-ish, something like that. And then I would just do spots in New York and LA. I would fly back to New York for weekends and do a bunch of spots and come back and do them in LA and never wanted to let comedy go.
What do you like about New York as opposed to LA? LA seems to be, everybody seems to work most people seem to work their same 7 minutes till to death. And then New York seems every night, everybody seems to be doing new stuff.
I like the amount of spots I can get on one night in Manhattan. It could be 6 to 8,
Wow.
And it's not like if you live there, that would be your night every night.
Right.
But if you're coming in for the weekend, like I just need 2 clubs and they load me up. And I'm like exhausted by 2 a.m. on Saturday night.
You
I'm
do
like,
a
"Get me
lot
outta
of
here."
sets here in town, though, too. I'm always seeing
As much
you.
as I can. But, I mean, you
I have to, by the way, say you guys have to follow Laurie on
Laurie
Twitter.
Kilmartin on Twitter. And by the way, and her album is called Corset, which I didn't say. It's on all the streaming platforms right now. And it is, I was laughing. I was happy the Tesla was driving. I had it on auto drive. And I started laughing about the bit about your son. She makes her son explain the bit about on Sundays.
This is
about
what
Sundays.
people
Oh, no,
do.
this is painful to
This is the
explain
thing
comedy,
that people
isn't
do
it?
to comics.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just did it.
I know. But I
Oh,
don't
no.
wanna
Do
explain- I just
your
wanna-
bit. Do
as
the
a-
one.
No,
you
as
know.
a comic, I don't want
Can
you
I
to do
just
that.
talk to
I don't want you
Ray?
to do
You've
that. Yes, you
never-
can.
you've never done this before.
By the way, that's not the first time I've heard that sentence. People have said, "Can I just talk to Ray?" I'll just give you the title of the bit was No español domingo.
No inglés domingo.
No inglés. No inglés.
No,
domingo.
I guess-
right. It's no inglés.
And
domingo.
this is
make
what
you
people
listen
do
to
as well.
it.
They ruin
God,
your jokes, and you
I'm
have
a
to do
shitty
it.
morning
Oh my
DJ right now.
You
I am
are.
the beginning of every fucking morning zoo. What am I doing? I need duck. Ken, give me some duck
This is
noises.
what my grandma Jean does. She invites her friends over at 7 a.m. on a
God.
Saturday for me to get up and do my
Oh,
my
no.
stuff. Yeah.
She's asked her to do that. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Do some
Oh
of
no,
your
she
comedy.
invited them, and
God.
I woke up to them there in the
No.
living room.
No.
No, that's what I said. No, that was my whole bit. No.
Sit with coffee.
All I do is stand on stage and say no. That's
No,
what I do.
exactly.
And so I'll do it now.
What was it like writing for Conan? I mean, writers' rooms, I find everyone I've been in is they're usually just these cocoons of joy most of the time. What was writing? What was what I was doing on TV shows, so it was different.
Yeah, a sitcom.
Yeah,
right?
so it's a little more stressful on a daily show.
I think I haven't done a sitcom ever, so I don't know what that's like. But it was like 9:30 to 6:30 ish, something like that.
Just go
But sometimes we leave it, when the show started taping, and sometimes we'd stay late. But I was on the monologue team, so we were sort of a different. We were, we worked alone and then met separately and would read jokes out to each other and stuff like that.
So you
and
just
then meet
locked
with
yourself
Conan.
in a room and wrote monologue jokes about that, and like going through the news. Just
Yeah. I mean, we collaborated a little bit on premises, and then we'd all kind of work off the same premises, and then Conan would pick what jokes he liked.
Mr. Conan O'Brien, what is he like when you get to know him?
If you listen to his podcast, he's exactly like how he is on his podcast.
Yeah.
He's a total ball buster all the time. And he's just funny and, as down to earth as an incredibly famous person can be, but is also aware of that too.
Yeah.
So I feel like I think that's why he's enjoying his podcast so much, because he gets to be himself finally, and not like, to chop yourself up into little 5-minute interviews all day long, or every single night, and it's just you're presenting a different person,
And it has to be TV clean or whatever that
and
looks
sometimes
like.
you don't know who these people are you're interviewing, or you're bored by
Right.
their movie, or it sucks, and you
Or
got to
they're
pretend it doesn't, or
assholes.
they're assholes. So I mean, whatever you saw of that was he was very regimented, and I feel like if you really want to get to know Conan, just listen to his podcast, because that's how he is.
We stood next to him at Springsteen, the
Yep.
last show we went to before COVID.
And he knows me because I
You knew him before, yeah.
Well, I also pissed him off on it.
yeah,
so-
he doesn't
Oh, you
like
did?
you. He doesn't like him.
I didn't mean to. The New York,
But he didn't
Conan doesn't like
move
me
the
at all.
whole show. It was 3-hour show, and he just stood
Yeah, we were all
like
dancing
this
and
the whole
fist bumping,
time.
and we looked over, and
I
Conan had
thought,
his
oh,
hands
he
in his
seems
pockets,
fine.
kept looking over. So no, what happened on the show is that it was my TV show was on the air, and he was doing the show in New York, and I was in New York, and I had video of me with Flying with the Blue Angels where I vomited in a bag, and they were like, "Oh, bring that video," and I was like, "Cool," and I wrote some stories about stuff, and I get there, and the producer goes, it wasn't Conan, it was the producer, goes, "No, I want you to do your jokes, just your material." I go, "No,
Was
no."
it Smiley? Frank Smiley?
Younger. It was a younger guy.
Dan Ferguson?
Maybe it was Dan. I think
Okay.
that sounds right.
Yeah.
He was
blue
just,
eyes, big blue eyes?
I don't know, dark hair.
No.
Wow. Yeah, that's
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Well,
no,
now we're
dreamy. I would
devolving
say
into
dreamy. I would say
hypnotic.
dreamy blue eyes. Yes. Big blue dreamy eyes. Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's him. Yes.
You've got a boner. Yeah, Bayless
I say
Ferguson.
that's him. Yes. That's him. Yeah, that guy. Hard the whole show, which is why Conan was mad.
Jealous. He was jealous
exactly.
of your love with Dan.
So whoever it was, and he kept going, "No, you got to do material." I go, "No, I do that all the time." I have a TV show and I have this, and he kept saying, "Do your material." I'm like, "Okay." So I did my material, and then and then Conan kind of goes to wrap it up. I go, "No, I brought that video of me flying with the Blue Angels, but I said it on air while I do it." And Conan did this thing where he goes, "Okay, let's roll that video." And there was no buddy joy. It was like, fuck, okay.
Okay.
And he rolled it. It was funny. And then the second we got back, "Thanks for being on the show." Pew, gone. It was like, yeah.
And that was the last
Yeah, that
time
was
he
the
was
last
on
time-
the show.
Wow.
That was the last time Mr. Conan O'Brien's ever
I
spoke
feel
to me.
like, it's, I can't, I don't know. But if they're like, well, we got 5 minutes for Titus, and we got 5 minutes for this and 5 minutes for that, and then it turns into 5:30, then maybe
You
they
ruined
gotta-
the show.
They got to cut it someplace
Oh, and
else. But I have no idea.
I pissed Leno off too. Same thing. I go long.
Well, maybe now I'm saying maybe it's you at this
No,
point.
I'm just.
No,
I didn't make
this
him
is
mad.
too-
Leno wasn't mad. He.
It's
I just
100%
wrote.
you.
My set was too long, and I finished, and he goes, "All right, guys, that's Christopher Titus. Hey, we'll see you around the bar." And he wraps the show up, and I get done, and he turns over and he goes, "Hey, if you did like 4 less jokes, I could have talked to you."
Oh, that was it?
Yeah.
Do you see him at Flappers now?
Yeah, I worked with him.
They did a show last
He's
week
still Leno,
together.
man. He's still Leno. He's still
Oh my
Leno.
God,
He's still
he
Leno.
really is. But it's funny that the stuff he's trying to make like relatable, about like meeting Prince William and Duchess Kate
Right.
in his
How
cul-de-sac.
many people here have met the royals? Yeah, I saw him there, right? And it's well, but then again, that's your life. It's weird because
It's his life. It's so strange, though.
But it must be odd, like to be that famous and to have that kind of connections. Because as comics, it's my daily life, right? It's my day. Hey,
Yeah.
it's my daily
Right.
life. So I was driving my car that goes 320 miles an hour. Anybody else? And it's got to be.
Listen, that's why you should get my album because I'm completely relatable.
Totally relatable.
There you go.
Totally
I have
relatable.
the same financial problems everyone else does.
Now this is going to sound wrong. It's not what you said. There's a bit you did about circumcision,
Yes.
the dirty penis piece, and there's ways like David Tell. I think people go, I don't like dirty comics. David Tell is not a dirty comic. He's smart as shit.
Yeah.
There's stuff you talk about. The way you talk about it is people get this album. It is. In less skilled hands. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Less skilled hands, it would not have been handled as brilliant as you did it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no,
Gosh,
it's really great.
Thanks so much.
So when you do comedy, because I'm on the road all the time, I love it so much. I decided a long time ago I didn't want to be meat for show business. I wanted to be able to if they were like, yeah, sorry, you're done here. Oh, I can still go to the Denny's and make some money.
Dude, I feel like no matter what the gig, if you're still doing stand-up, you are winning. You know, like if everyone's like, oh, cruise ships, I would put me on a cruise ship. Like I get to perform and make money. That's beyond my wildest dreams as a child.
Right.
Beyond my ancestors' wildest dreams for, it's all good.
My ancestors told me it will never happen. Stop. Get a real job. Don't do this
That was
ever again.
your dad.
Yeah, it was my
But
dad.
And that was Ray this morning,
Yeah,
too.
that's
which
why
is
I know
weird.
really stop. I want to be off the road.
She wants to stop for her. She's like, can we stop? No, we got to keep going.
I love the stand-up. I love performing. It's
Yeah.
a drug. The
Yeah.
travel every week, I hate the travel. I hate hotel rooms. I remember in the beginning, I was like, oh, hotel room, this is so cool. And now I'm like, if I stay in another fucking hotel room, I'm going to shoot myself in the face.
You can't well, you do the mattress math. How many people have
I
slept
can't-
on this
yeah,
mattress?
I
And
think
then when
too
you start
much.
doing, you realize how many people have stayed in this room. How often and I'm like, this is what are we doing? Now I can't sleep.
You got to turn off that part of your brain. You know what? For me, because I have a kid, when I do a hotel gig, I'm like, this is awesome.
That's true.
No one
That's true,
needs
yeah.
me. No one wants me.
Yep.
I'm not walking a dog. I'm not doing dishes. I'm just laying in a bed that other people have made love in.
Yeah,
and it's
a lot
really
of
awesome.
people.
So you're taking that energy. You're taking that energy. Like,
Yeah, to me, it's sexy.
There
It's-
was sex here, right here. So absorb it.
How old
Babies
is
were
your
made
son now?
here. Crimes were committed here.
Amazing.
Ah.
How old is your son?
He just turned 15.
So
Yeah.
does he stay by himself?
No, his dad will come over and
Oh,
hang
right. I
out with
forgot
him.
there was a donor. I forgot. Right. Yes.
Yeah. So, his dad lives nearby, and we finally, like, I'm doing more road work now. Before it always been hiatus based, and now it's like I'll take anything. And I have like 3 weekends in a row that I haven't worked 3 weekends in a row in a really long time.
Well, the end of that third weekend, man, you're going to be like, this shit is way funnier than I thought.
Just in terms of tags
the
and stuff like,
mining,
oh my
man,
God,
they're
I
just
can't
chipping
wait.
shit away. The sculpture
Yeah.
gets so much better.
Totally.
When we did Titus, I had a very short time on the road. It was very short, like in the summers I'd go on hiatus. And but I loved it, but I would beat it to death. And it was, I'm not bitching about it because I had a TV show to do. But, but man, when I got on the road full time, the shows just came faster.
Oh yeah, right.
So the split with your ex, amicable?
Yeah. Now it wasn't when it happened, but it is now.
Is it true what happened? Because I heard the album.
Yes.
Wow, she very funny.
I have to listen to this album on the way home. I downloaded it.
I burst out laughing. Fact you can't made me laugh. So,
Did it? Oh, good. That's such an old
Is it?
Yeah, this album was like I shot it or I recorded it in November of 2019.
Oh wow.
And it was like I'm so sick of some of these bits that
Yeah.
if I do them 6 more months, my throat will contract and I won't even be able to speak. So let me get these on fake vinyl or MP3 before it's too late. So that was one of them because I was so tired of even mentioning it. I'm like, that's just ancient history. So I don't want to talk about it ever again.
I've mined the divorce for so much and the kids for so much. I think I'm kind of done with it now.
Yeah, I mean, divorce is different from the kid. The kids are an ongoing thing. My son is aging with my act, right? So that's the other thing. I had at the time my kid was 12 or maybe just had turned 13, and I still had stuff about when he was 4, and I'm like, I got to get this on an album and then not talk about him being a toddler because I'm in menopause.
Are gonna be
let's all move
right?
forward.
I love when your own kid is like, Mom, can you write some new shit? Just write some new shit, Mom. I'm driving. You're talking about diapers and I'm driving.
So how long have you been doing comedy?
I started in 87 in San Francisco.
So you did too.
When did 80? I think it was late 83. No, maybe I think it might have been February 83 or 84.
Oh, okay. And where'd you start?
Punchline was my first time on stage.
No, really?
First time on stage, Punchline.
But you weren't to San Francisco Comic.
Yes, I was. I just left.
When did you leave?
So 83, I started working, and I was psycho about it. I was 19, 20, and I just was going. I was like everywhere I went. And if comics came back from the road, they were like, "Man, I did this gig. What's the guy's name?" I had $700 phone bills when you had to pay when you couldn't get.
Oh my God, I remember that. Do you remember AOL when it was $2, like almost $3 an hour on the road? Oh my God, as a feature, all my money went to AOL. It was unbelievable.
I feel like,
but I was so lonely.
Remember back when we did before the technology?
Sure.
So I got on the road. I got that Kenny Loggins tour. I was so driven because I had no other skills.
Like 3 years in, you got Kenny Loggins.
I toured with Kenny Loggins in '87. So when you started in San Francisco, I was already I was touring with Kenny Loggins, and then I moved to LA. But I started in San Francisco. I lived at Page and Divisadero.
Oh,
Bus Stop Pizza was my place. I ate there when I had no money, and the guy I had one piece of pizza a day. A guy would load it up with just vegetables this high because I was obviously getting
hungry.
Hungry. I was obviously on the borderline homeless. My car was booted repeatedly.
Did you work the old other cafe then?
I loved that. I used to go do Bobcat nights at the when Goldthwait first came in, and I got to be there and watch him Goldthwait used to go into the cafe and like half hour, 40 minutes before his show.
Yeah.
Would have to put that character on. I mean, it was Meisner. He went so far.
Really?
He'd walk in, how's everybody doing? And then he would just start to do it. Now he can just on and off.
Sure.
And then Robin would come down there. I got to see Robin Williams work a lot there.
Wow.
And they would put me up there. And man.
That was Slayton years. Jake Johansson.
The other cafe was this. I forget the guys that can run them. The tall guy with the glasses.
Bob,
and the other. Yeah.
And then Amy Glenn booked it. That's all I cared about. Amy. I would call in and then you listen because then you call in and leave your veils on an answering machine, and then you call the answering machine on Wednesday, I think, and she would list the people who got spots, which was even more cruel because it was like a public. You didn't get this, and you knew everyone was calling in to find out, or if you did get it, that was always also public as well. Oh, it was vicious. Like
it always is though, man. Listening,
it's true.
Did you guys ever know each other?
We passed once in a while.
We worked together in the 90s. We were, I think, we did
God,
together for sure.
I was so tolerable to be around in that time.
That's my next question. Because everybody tells us what he was like back then. Jake Johansson said, what did he say? Intolerable.
You were a lot.
I would say that. You were. But you were really nice to me. And I remember we did Aubrey Pippin's rooms together.
Holy shit.
The Comedy House Theater. I know we did Savannah. We may have done one of the other ones.
Savannah, man. And it was weird. Every one show a week, we always say there's one weird one. Mm-hmm. So depending on how low you go in the room, the one weird one is way weirder. Didn't we have we had people thrown out? I was pretty lightweight though in the 90s. Until I wrote Norman Rockwell, I was like, hey, you guys, what's going on?
You were talking
Blue's a weird color, right?
You were talking about your parents. You're talking about all that stuff that was going on. I think you had started.
Yeah.
Because I remember being like, whoa, my God.
So was this on 95, 96?
something like that. Yeah. That's because that's before I moved to New York. So I still featuring in those road rooms.
Because like your joke structure is like, you got to listen, people, you have to listen to the album Corset. It's on by Laurie Kilmartin. You got to listen to your joke structure and the way you write. I was kind of inspired coming over here.
Oh, wow.
Because we don't listen to everybody else.
Yeah,
we don't,
right,
and sometimes you don't want to. I've never been a comic that was like, I don't want to listen because I want to steal from it. Because like, if you're thinking like that, you're a fucking thief. So I can hear, if anything, like Carlin makes me mad because Carlin has written so many bits that, guess we can never fucking touch that subject again.
Right.
There's so many things that Carlin did. You're like, well, I get there. Oh, it's over. But your joke structure was really, it's really solid. You were always a good comic, but when did the writing on TV help you get to that?
Completely. So, we're writing jokes for Conan. It's a 2-sentence structure. Setup is the premise and the second sentence is the punchline. So that's super strict, Even if he said it as if it was one sentence, we wrote it as two. So that you just start getting that in your head, and you want as little information, but as much as you need in the first sentence, and if there's something else, if there's something that's you don't, you were always just taking that information, right? Or consolidating it. Or sometimes the punchline comes so quick, you're like, let's stretch out the setup a little bit because it's too fast. But you're constantly measuring, the length of time that you're giving information and how long it takes to get the punchline. And like, even when I think I would write a great joke, it goes up on the cue cards. And then, in the monologue meeting, we have Conan reading it. We have Andy looking at it. And it's like, oh, do we need that? And then we say it again without that, that little clause. And no, we don't need it. And so I think, 10 years of that really got drilled into my head about my own jokes, and just became conscious of, anything extra I was saying that was unnecessary. And also just that, like you said, just that bit, get to a laugh.
So that's how you write now.
I guess so, yeah. I mean, that's what I consider a good joke.
It was like a comedy.
That's surgical.
Surgical comedy, like medical.
Intense boot camp.
Did they used to read it? Wait, you would give that to them and they would read it in front of you? You'd have to sit down and listen to it?
Like we would all...
or is it run through?
It was, we would all write jokes that they'd be printed on a Word doc, and then we'd meet with Conan and he'd read them silently. And then he'd pick out, what he liked, right? And then we'd do that again. And then we'd come back the final time, and the jokes he had picked from sessions 1 or 2 or meeting 1 and 2 were on cue cards. And then he'd just start reading them out loud as if he's doing them on. We know some are going to be cut, and that's when all this final, surgery is done. And then even then, sometimes then we bring all those cards backstage and he goes over them one more time. And there's even more, the audience is there. Everyone's kind of, he's getting getting that nervous show energy.
Yeah.
So
I call it premenstrual. I get
he's starting to know, like, oh, this joke's taking too long, or you know what I mean. So he's starting to hone in on it and stuff like that. So even up till then, things are being edited. But
he's also such a brilliant writer. It must be cool and also heartbreaking when you give him stuff and he's like, no. But also so cool when he goes, this is great.
When he says it's a great joke, you're like,
he's such a solid
I'm so
writer,
happy.
Man.
So were you there all the way up until the end?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that it just ended very recently.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what happened with the whole crew when Conan went away and then came back? He took
between
over
the Today Show. The Tonight Show.
Yeah.
He hasn't done the Today Show yet, but he'll do that one.
Yeah, that's next.
The Tonight Show and TBS.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Were you around for that?
I wasn't. I started with TBS, but it looked to me like everyone that was working there had been working with him before, because everyone moved out from New York.
Right.
That's why it was so shitty what Leonard did, but and not me because.
So I'm curious.
But the whole hundreds of people sold their homes, left, came to LA, and within 9 months were like, What did
Leonard do? Because I got in a discussion with Corolla about it one day. I was like, because Conan was really mad at Leno, and I was like, but Leno doesn't run the network. The network was fucked. That whole situation was fucked.
Well, they put the
10 o'clock show.
The 10 o'clock show. So 10 to 11
was Jay.
4 or 5 nights a week.
Yeah. It was like I remember what happened.
An hour-long show, 4 or 5 nights a week.
Same format.
Same format, right? So a pre-Tonight Show, and then local news.
It's not quite night show. Welcome to the not quite.
The actual Tonight Show. Yeah. It was just like unbelievable. And
So Jay should have, you think, so Conan attitude was like, Jay should have said, no, we're not doing that. I'm not going to do that.
It's weird. Like I don't, as a comic, I don't blame anyone for taking a gig.
Right.
But still, it's just like.
It was it's one of the weirdest in my lifetime.
So
with television.
strange.
It's one of the weirdest things I've ever seen
Like,
happen.
why not, go away for a little bit and then come back with, like, he's got his garage show that's like killing it.
Yeah.
Like Flapper said, a lot of young kids have no idea about the Tonight Show. They're like, oh, that's the garage guy. And that's why they come to Flappers to see him. So like, why not just, go away and do, I don't
Keep
know,
your hundreds of millions and
Listen.
let someone
Yeah,
else
so-
have some.
Laurie, listen. We gave your show to Jackie Cation. It's not doing what we thought it would. So we'd like to bring you back, and we're going to give you $25 million a year.
But here's
you get to open for Jackie. So your show is rehearsed. She'll follow you. What do you think about that? No.
the second thing they did.
You're not going to answer.
No, because then they're like, we're going to have Jay do 11:30 to 12, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then Conan starts at 12:01, which is technically the next day.
Yeah.
It was all, it goes for, it's not between those two
It's
as
a
much as
clusterfuck.
it is the clusterfuck
Was
of
it
people
Zucker?
that were running it.
Who's running the network? at that
Jeff
time?
Zucker was it.
Yeah, Zucker was running it, and he didn't make the best decisions.
But did Jay retire or did they end
Jay
the show?
Jay retired. He flat out
Voluntarily?
They did a closing episode and everything, and then whatever happened, they panicked. Zucker panicked when the ratings. By the way, it takes a long time to build. No one has ever taken over the Tonight Show and just went fucking.
I
Jimmy
have to
Fallon
say
did
to
it.
you, honestly, like if you came to me like you just proposed to Laurie and you said Jackie Cation, has this show, I really like Jackie. The other factor is I have hundreds of millions of dollars in my bank account. I have 3 hangars filled with cars. My wife is extremely wealthy.
Nominated for a Nobel Prize. Yeah.
I'm going to let Jackie have her shot now and I'm going to go enjoy my money. I wouldn't.
Well, Conan and Jay weren't best friends on a podcast.
Yeah, that
together.
was a tough
Yeah.
comparison.
And
I'm just saying,
but I'm not part of that team, so
Right.
I
Yeah.
also feel weird, completely commenting on it. I'm just talking as an outsider.
I would just blame the. I when it happened, I kept thinking because when we did Titus, man, the network makes the dumbest fucking decisions every time.
Every time.
Like they don't think anything through. People, if you're going to be in television, just understand. When you think you get this dream, and then you get there, and there's all these gatekeepers, and all they do is, and they're not smart about it. They're just not smart about it. It's pretty obvious what needed. Jay didn't need to do it, or you needed to do something earlier. Jay should have got an 8:00 show.
It still
or
didn't
some
last very
variety show.
long, right?
It didn't. No, it was
No.
it was such a bad idea across the board. The whole thing. But when everyone was blaming Jay, I was like. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you say no to hundreds of millions of dollars.
But it's also like that was the hour of ER and Law and Order, and all of a sudden now it's a variety show.
Yeah.
That's too jarring for any
you're
audience.
right, you're right,
It's
right.
just like, what do you? No, that's not when we're used to things.
Right. It's true.
Back then, when people watched things as they aired a little bit more.
Right.
It was starting to fade at that point, and now there's no time slots.
No,
It's
we're in a
just-
weird time
there's
now. I don't even know how they have a season anymore. How do we have? There's no new
Yeah.
show season. I remember when I was a kid, you got ready for the new season in September.
Yeah.
You got ready. You're like, oh, this is gonna be. I can't wait to watch this. And now I don't even know.
And 24-hour
I
news
stumble
cycle.
across shit. That's how I watch TV now. I just stumble across shit.
I feel like really stressed out by the amount of shit that needs to be watched, especially because everybody's got a show that they're watching, and it's just too much. So I watch Great British Baking Show
Right.
and call it a day.
Yeah.
Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, but that hasn't come back.
Lorraine Newman said there's something as satisfying as Great British Baking Show, and it's about a guy that restores family heirlooms. And I
Yes.
forget the name of
we
it, but
watched
you follow her on
that.
Twitter. Oh, you guys have seen
Yes.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that same I can fall asleep to this even though I have insomnia, calming kind of television
Yes.
show.
Yeah.
It's a great British. Do you watch it?
I do. Yeah, I haven't. I'm not all caught up on this season, but because
Have you
I have
started?
been watching a
Have
lot
you
of
started
TV. Yeah, I love the German. It's all the
That's his-
Axis
Jürgen-
powers.
Jürgen is my
The German
Jürgen
guy,
is
the
my-
Italian guy, and
Jürgen-
then the guy who frowns. He's got a very distinct, disturbed look.
Yeah, shit, yeah, with the eyes. He's also his eyes a little bit off.
Is that him?
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
but I'm when he's like frowning at something, I'm like, oh, what's happening? No.
By the way, I am cooking. This is my
Jürgen
mother's.
or something.
He calls himself the Jürgenator.
My mother's recipe. It's perfect. There's never been a better recipe than this. I will cook it. I will make it. This has healed people of diseases. But we'll see what he said. Paul says. He's very. He's like the. He said that when he got Starbaker for the third time.
Yes.
And he goes. It freaked me out because he goes, "That's Starbaker, yay!" And I was like, "Whoa, Jürgen, whoa!
You're German. Put that on down,
bro.
Bring it down. Bring it down."
But it was such a mild display, and
okay.
it was shocking to both of us. We were like, because I got Starbaker again. That's good. And then he just looks off. I like the guy. So you gonna get back into TV? Do you want to keep writing?
Yeah. I have show ideas to pitch. I just have to flesh them out. I guess I'm just taking the next this whole holiday season to do road work and try to promote.
Gonna be a showrunner.
Promote my album. I'd love to sell a show and just get something going. You know,
it's a long process. I sold 5, got
God.
1 done, got to a pilot on another one, filmed the pilot, and I got to be honest, man, it got to a point where I've got 3 scripts right now, and I just. Man, it's people don't understand. Everybody goes, "Well, go." I love when someone calls you a Hollywood elite or something because, like, do you have any?
You get called out a lot on Twitter
and I'm like, "Do you fucking know me? I'm building cars in my garage." Like it's like I'm the worst.
There have been beefs against you that I've been watching. Going, Chris is handling it.
I enjoy.
I don't want to jump in.
She
stresses me out.
Twitter beefs are very stressful.
I can't handle it.
They really are.
He loves
fun.
it. He thinks it's fun.
Right.
I was raised by a man that it was a constant barrage of insults nonstop. So when it happens, I have a sick little room in my body that goes, okay.
I do too when it's me. I haven't gotten a lot of beef, but when people are like commenting on YouTube videos, I'm like I pass by the compliments and I go right to the insults.
Yes.
Oh really? Why do you think that?
Yeah, and I'm like, and I have to go, babe. She said you were great. You were great, and
not interested.
I can't. It's just comments in general.
Yes.
Like I posted a picture of myself that said girls can do anything on my shirt, not on a graphic. I was just wearing that shirt in the picture. Hey, you guys come out and see this show I'm doing, whatever. The comments, I actually screenshot it. It was a bunch of dudes saying like that I had an Adam's apple. I'm really a dude. Girls can do anything, except pee standing up. It was like all of this misogynistic. No one even noticed that I was inviting them to come to a show. It was just all stuff about the shirt I was wearing. And that nice little sentiment provoked so much anger.
I want to talk about women in comedy. Let's talk about women in comedy because I've noticed. Why are men who claim masculinity, who talk about masculinity or losing masculinity, by far the least masculine men? Tucker Carlson and Josh Hawley were having this common thing about masculinity.
They seem actually quite soft to me.
I just know anybody who any dudes I really know never bring up masculinity. We never go, hey man, how's your masculinity? Like we never.
It's not a topic you're obsessed with.
No one ever
You're just being a dude.
Yeah, but also like the thing that she was talking about earlier, that when someone says before we got on air, someone go, does Chris write your comedy? And the reason I told her to get into comedy, I was like, you need to get into comedy, was because she was giving me jokes. And do you guys hear that, people?
Yeah.
She was writing me such good jokes that I was offended how good they were. I was like, hey, I got this. And she was like, what if you said this? Shut up. I'm taking that, but shut up. And then she started doing comedy. What is that like? I didn't realize how shitty men were until I've been around Ray and then watched things happen. And there's someone said something today about women being weaker. And yes, on Sunday we did this ninja thing, and Jessie Graff was there. Jessie Graff, she was a ninja warrior.
Oh yeah,
she was there at my buddy Tony's house, and she was working out and doing the ninja course, and beat everybody's ass to death. It was horrible. I was like, man, I got to do some more push-ups. Shit. And I just don't understand what I've got, because through Ray, how much bullshit you guys live in all the time.
Right.
So that when you make it to a level you've made it at, people guys like. It's not because of diversity. It's not because they hired a woman because they needed a woman. It's because she was fucking better than the guys.
It's weird. I feel like the diversity hire thing puts the onus on the person hired when actually the problem is the people that are hiring need that. Like it's actually it's actually the embarrassment of the company.
Right.
You know, and it's on them. It's not on the person who was hired.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like, we're horrible. Call some black people, black women specifically. Let's get them in here. Why? Because we're horrible.
yeah. You're horrible. So that's actually the problem.
Well, and it's the thing too. We were talking about last night. We were watching a movie, and there was an actress in it, and we were saying, "What happened to her? She's so good." And then I said, "Oh, she probably aged out. You know, she went over 35, and that was it." And there is something. It's still very ingrained in society. And you look in comedy, how women above a certain age, you don't see us represented in Netflix specials or Amazon specials. Or
Oh, you've said some things about that.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, you've mentioned
Tammy Pescatelli says a lot about that. Elaine Boozler says a lot about that. And nothing's done about it.
No,
you just scream into the void about it.
Oh, there's a crew of postmenopausal women that I would not want to fuck with in comedy right now.
Right.
Yeah. What do you mean post-menopausal? Why are you assuming that people are post-menopausal?
Because there's this other the other earlier crew is still trying to most of them are ha-haing their way through, but Chelsea, Tammy, Laurie, you guys, I mean, there's a whole lot. You're angry too, but you know, I think out of the spotlight they will complain, but I think everybody, all the women in comedy, need to be like, hey, this is bullshit. It
is bullshit.
It is. I agree 100%.
I honestly,
I've seen it since you started working.
And nothing against. Just against younger people, I just love to watch, you know, with any job, but especially with comedy, because the older people get, the more we know about the world, the more we've learned, the more we look back on jokes we told early on and we were like, you know.
Oh my God, yeah.
Right? Even just the way that you write. And it's just so much more interesting. And so I would love to see that represented. And we just don't. It's just not there.
I know. It's so frustrating. It's like there's no quality control at some of the streamers. I'm just like, wait, you gave that guy an hour? Are you fucking shitting me? Did you even, does anyone look at this material?
Yeah. And no, men don't age out of comedy. I'm
just saying, like, they don't even care what they're putting on.
No.
But they go, they just absolutely they don't go to any women that are over 40. Or if they do, it's people that have been famous since they were 25.
Right.
You know, so
well, I do this with some of the comedy specials because I like to see what's going on. So I'll click on a comedy special, and in the first 3 minutes, if I hear a feeding cats meat vegan joke, if I hear some guy starts with, like, if you start with masturbation material, where are you going from there?
Yeah.
You know, where, and I'm not talking like Dave Attell level, your level. I'm talking like just base level.
Yeah. It's
middle
the stuff where it's like,
we always say that.
Yeah.
Features.
Like I think you'll be good in 10 years, but Comedy Central already gave you a half hour.
Right.
That's so strange to me.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
But they don't care either.
But didn't we bitch about this in 85, 86, and 90s too? Didn't we bitch about this in the 90s?
No, you guys, men didn't care that women weren't getting anything.
And now, there wasn't a conversation about it.
Yeah.
Now there's at least a little bit of a conversation, but
see, here's the thing. I never had this thing where I would separate. When I went to comedy, my first show I ever got to see was I was 14 years old. One of my dad's ex-girlfriends and her new boyfriend took me to, they knew I loved comedy. They took me to the San Francisco Comedy Competition.
Oh my God.
And I got to watch, I went through 3 nights of the preliminaries, and then I got to go to the finals. And I went to the finals, and it was Dana, Marshall Warfield, A. Whitney Brown. Wow. Whitney's he's another guy where I just like
he must have been ferocious then, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh
so it's like,
God.
but he still juggled. He still juggled a little bit.
Really?
He still juggled too.
You gotta have a closer, Titus.
Michael Winslow, and there was one more. Michael Davis. So
Michael Davis from
he was
Deb and Mike.
No, Michael Davis. He was a real juggler. He was a full
I remember him.
Yeah. So
what happened to him? No,
I think he aged out. I think. I don't know.
Well, juggling,
Some
you
guys-
gotta.
Some people, juggling.
He juggled
That's a
out.
different- yeah.
Juggling is definite specific chapters in our history.
And how
Right,
long
right.
can your shows be while
It'll-
you're
it'll
juggling,
come back.
honestly? Did he
He's
tell
throwing
jokes?
the ball again.
Did he tell
was a very
jokes
funny
while
juggler, very
he
funny juggler.
juggled?
But I saw Marshall Warfield blow the
Oh
fucking
my
roof
God.
off every time, and I never had this. I never had this. And when comics would do it in the back room, shit, a chick comic and roll their eyes. I was like, "Fuck, are you talking about, man?" Lily Tomlin. The reason I even write the way I write or try to build shows from beginning to end is because of Lily Tomlin. Marshall Warfield, it blows my mind still. I just think she's like, So I never had that. I never understood. Here's what I actually honestly
Marshall
believe.
Warfield gets on to you too.
I honestly, she does jump my ass all the time. I honestly,
If he
really, on
says
Twitter?
if he says some things about women that she, even though he's trying to be an ally, or he
No, I am.
says
I'm not
something
trying.
about LGBTQ, she'll be like,
the Chappelle thing. I said,
Yeah.
I wasn't being.
I didn't agree with some of your Chappelle stuff, but I just
That's okay.
I don't remember exactly, but I was like,
she didn't either.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I said, I don't understand what you guys are saying. I watched the special twice. First time I watched it, I thought, oh, maybe I'm wrong because the backlash was so intense. Then I watched it again. And there's a point where I was like, he did Space Jews. He did some harsh women jokes.
Right,
Yes,
right.
he
Where
did.
she was like, that's kind of fucked up. And I thought about it later. I thought I think he was doing that to make a point. Now, I'd like to get Dave on and have Dave talk about it, but he won't. And then when he got to the bit about his friend who was trans, and they talked to the family who loved Dave, I got that Dave. Here's what I thought. Dave said, I helped this trans woman do comedy, said her act was shitty, which he would say if you were a shitty comic. Then she was really funny backstage and he offered to help her. That's what I got. And then I saw this stuff that Dave's creating trans people to be hurt and killed and beaten. And I was like, well, no, because these bro douchebags who would even think that love Dave Chappelle. And they're like, wait, he had a friend who was trans. I thought it went the other way. It would open up those people's minds to Dave had a friend that was trans. Okay, we probably shouldn't fuck with him.
Interesting. Yeah. I can see.
And we are so addicted to offense right now, and we are so we are so bereft of forgiveness or kindness, or even taking a fucking joke because of social media, that I think people miss the point of this special. And yet in the Hannah Gadsby, she went after it, and I just want to go, guys, it's a fucking comedian. He's not making policy. He's not making policy. And I get that he was trying, whether he missed the mark or not, I do not believe he walked on that stage to actually offend trans people. He wasn't doing it for the bros. He was like, this is what happened. This is what's going on. And I set up a trust for her kid. She said, people that do charity don't bring it up. Prince never told anybody who he gave money to.
I didn't love that. Like, it wasn't the best look, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like he's doing. I have no idea why he's obsessed with talking about trans people in comedy specials. But whatever.
It's been like 3, right?
He's allowed.
3 now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've done like 3 of them.
At least
Yeah.
he's allowed. It's his interest. I love Robin Tran. Do you know her? She's a trans comic. She's like, I just want to see his porn search history. But you know what? All right, whatever. He's got his thing, and we all have our thing, right?
I think.
But
I think
no,
when we're
let her
attacked.
finish.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
But
all right, I'll shut up.
The thing that's frustrating is that there's hardly any other voices. And so, like every time there's a comedy special now, it seems like it's a guy shitting on women or shitting on trans women, and it's like exhausting. Could there at least be other voices that get the same kind of promotion? That maybe they're not going to be as famous as Chappelle, no one is, but they at least get a little bit of you may also like when you're looking at Netflix. So
there's a balance.
So it doesn't feel like every time comedy's in the news right now, it's because a male comic is shitting on a group, right? And again, like if they're allowed to, if they, and their audience likes it, and it's just frustrating that there's no other comics that are really given chances.
Or giving himself a blowjob. That's also newsworthy,
Rogan. I mean, but like...
No, I know.
He can do his thing,
Yeah, but here's the problem.
Whatever.
As a comic, I said this before. I said this like, as a comic, if you Carlin and Robin were my favorites, just my favorites beyond. I just love them both. And they never let their audience pull them, ever. And there's some comics now that because they're right-wing audience, they're bro audience.
Yeah.
They have that they let that audience pull them for money, basically, for success.
Or they've decided to do it that. I don't know, they're even letting the audience. They're like, oh, this is where my money is.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're not leading anymore. They're letting the audience lead them.
Or the money.
For the money.
Yeah, the money. Yeah. But because so I've never done it. I would here's what I don't want. I fucking never will be a punchline on SNL. Right. I was like, I actually, when it happened on Saturday, I looked over at Ray and I went, oh no. Because I mean, maybe he doesn't give a shit. Again, you're counting money. Yeah, 60 million, 70 million. No, yeah, I'm punchline. Got it. But still, that's not why I did this. That's not why I did this.
I also can't help but think that if you or I had been accused by 30 little boys of whatever it was,
16-year-old boys,
grooming them, young teenage boys,
you grooming
had a lot of
them.
Assistance. Yeah. Whether it's sexual assault, grooming them, whatever it is, I just don't see that our careers would ever survive. I don't see that we would be getting booked.
Yes, you would. You'd have an audience full of 16-year-old boys. Yes.
No.
Yeah. I don't know that those are considered by the public to be equal crimes, although they are. And like, I'm the mother of a teenage son, and
right.
if an adult woman was coming on to my son, I would fucking cut her head off, right?
Yeah.
You know, but I think I would go to prison sentenced by a male judge who lost his virginity to a 40-year-old when he was 14.
I just don't. I think that it's the standards are not the same.
So when you
not at all.
Yeah.
What I wanted to say about the things that I just didn't think he was shitting at people. I always try to think. I guess maybe as a white guy, I'm trying to make excuses for Dave, and I don't mean to.
Well, I could see from how you explained it. I'm like, oh, I could see from that point of view. But I'm good at
this. Like I watch it twice because I'm good at this. I know. I always try to. What is people trying to do with it? You
right.
know? And sometimes when I wrote "Arm the Children," if someone was like, "Fucking, you can't fucking arm the children," well, the whole fucking bit's about how ridiculous it is that you guys think everybody should have guns.
Right.
So I always think what a good comic doesn't go fucking straight at it. A good comic does this with it.
Yeah.
And Dave's a good comic, so I was trying to figure out what is he doing. I also get that there is a knee-jerk reaction to anybody saying anything about any group that is perceived as punching down. I thought that Dave has gotten so much shit from everybody for the few jokes that he did at the beginning and the shit he did earlier. He did some shit earlier that I thought this was the answer to it. And he said, "This is what happened. This is what I'm doing. I'm never going to bring it up again." And I thought this was a bit redemptive. And man, was I wrong. Boy, Marsha Warfield, she actually DM'd me. She's like, "Hey, let me explain to you why." And I was like, "Okay, I guess valid."
Interesting.
She makes valid points.
I follow I guess enough trans comics to know that it wasn't redemptive in their point of view.
Yeah.
No, there was some jokes. But there was a joke that I did about trans in the military off of Armageddon, and I said, people go, "We don't trans in the military." I go, "I want trans people in the military. You had the balls to cut off your own balls? It's pretty ballsy."
Mm-hmm.
I go, "I want that guy in the military."
Yeah.
Because I will follow that guy anywhere.
I want that woman in the military.
I will follow her.
You forgot
Did
your
you
own
say
bit.
guy?
I forgot the bit.
Here's the thing, like if you had,
but
if
that's
it's
what
like
I'm saying.
5 years ago.
I know, but do you understand?
Yeah.
This is the problem. And I
Right.
just talked about the Armageddon update. The problem is, it's unusual. We're not used to it. So if I say the wrong fucking guy or girl, I'm not a bad guy. Okay, sorry, suck.
Yeah.
Didn't mean to. But the backlash for that is so intense. And because of that, what happens is everybody's pushing against each other in a way that doesn't need to happen. If I say if I misgender you, it's holy shit. Like I attacked you. Oh, I just said the wrong.
You are
fucking
trying.
thing.
Your heart definitely is in the right place.
I'm just like, oh, I said the wrong
You're
word.
just
Sorry.
dumb
They don't
sometimes.
fucking ever say the wrong word. I work on. Okay,
Yeah.
got it. And also, anybody who goes, they want to play sports. There's been 5 cases.
Since
2011. 5
minor thing to obsess about.
But
It's
people do, and
ridiculous.
it's like,
I know.
and people go, oh yeah, they do,
it's
so they
so
can do good
stupid.
at softball. Really, they totally change their physicality, took hormones, changed everything. Had their family disown them because they wanted to play second base on a boys' team. Is that it? Is that what you're telling me?
Sponsored by a pizza parlor. Exactly. It's their life goal.
It doesn't exactly seem. I think they're committed. I think they mean it.
I do feel like I'm
trying to find my way through it, just to be honest.
Right. When you're talking about, if you're talking about your own life, you say whatever you want. But if you're going to now talk about other people's lives, maybe you need to be a little more strict with yourself about how loose you are, right? I don't know why I use those two words, but like, let me just make sure
you have to be strict.
I
in your
vet
looseness.
these jokes, right? I don't have to vet a joke. I talk about my dog. My dog doesn't give a shit. I do vet them a little more with about my son. Like, he might hear this one day, and I just want to make sure it's the joke falls on me being an insane mother and not on him. And so if you're talking about a group that you have no tie to, you aren't that group, at all. If I'm talking about Black people, or Dave's talking about trans people, like, you aren't that. So I have to do a little extra work. And I think to think that during a pandemic when we could hardly ever do any shows, to think you've done enough shows, how long it takes to perfect a bit? Yeah. Like years.
He released 7 specials or something?
Yeah, it just takes a long time. And if you're taking something that's a hot potato for you, and it's not coming from who you are, but what you perceive other people are, maybe you just need a couple more years with it.
Well, had he done those jokes in a club repeatedly, he would have had enough feedback in the clubs that people.
Yeah, that's true. You need the audience feedback. They're the second half of the equation.
I wrote it was a throwaway joke. It was in a story about my grandma, and when I first wrote it, I used the word tranny, and at that time there wasn't really any attention given to that word. You would hear it here and there.
Yeah, right.
It was the early 70s.
Shut up. A couple years into doing it, it had very clearly changed.
Yeah.
And a girl came up to me after, a trans girl, and told me that that's offensive and you can't say that. And I said, can I say drag queen? And she goes, yeah, that's really funny. And it actually worked better.
Yeah.
But I would have had I just decided I'm just going to film this, I never would have known that. I was offending people.
To your point of the audience giving you feedback, like when people are coming to your farm in Ohio, they're predisposed to like whatever you do, right? I mean, versus, any famous comic, I think, has this problem of the audience loving them immediately because they're so excited to see them, versus doing a drop-in just at a show. At least at some point, the audience they aren't all predisposed to love everything you do.
They're often predisposed to hate you when you first walk up.
Well, but I'm saying, you'll get a little bit better feedback. Yes. So I don't know. But whatever.
Well, but you said, but in his experience, he did have a friend who was trans, and he wanted to talk about that because they said when she came out and said Dave's a good guy, I work with him, blah blah blah, after that last special, and then I think it was kind of fucked up that he kind of blamed the trans community for her.
That was a lot of the blowback
that
too.
was a little bit hard.
It's like
that was a little hard.
Okay, I don't know. It's your time. Netflix gave you an hour, I guess, if you want to talk about someone else's suicide for your comedy show. I don't know.
I do on my shows. I've had a lot in my family. But it's my family
but
suicide.
It's your family.
Yeah, you go. I can talk.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's in the other end, he can do whatever he wants. But
that's the beauty of it.
To me, the how sensitive people get to criticism is really interesting.
Right.
Like, everyone can hear you now. Like, have you ever done a bad tweet and you're thinking of, your friends on Twitter who follow you, and you forget that it could be retweeted to thousands of people who have no idea who you are.
Right.
Dina Hashem did a really funny joke about this rapper. I forget his name, but he was killed in a car crash or something. and I think her joke, whatever.
I remember this. I vaguely remember this. I forget.
And so and she had a very small following at the time, and it got retweeted far and wide, and his fans found her, and the death threats were off the charts, right? Ari Shaffir, does a Kobe joke, like the body still hasn't been reclaimed, right?
This,
and he had to leave the app. So it's a giant audience, and when you're on Netflix, it's a giant audience, and unlike when we were growing up or anything, they can respond immediately on a very public platform to how you feel, and that's just the way things are now. So you can't react you do.
Well, that's the thing. If you're exercising
criticism.
your right to free speech, which I 100% stand for Dave, I also 100% stand for the people's right to say back to him what they think, and he has to accept that. He gets that awesome privilege of getting to do for $30 million, getting to do his hour. But also that's part of it, and he's not even on Twitter. He doesn't even do social media, so it was loud enough that he heard it.
So someone's telling him.
He's in the air. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I talked about the Sarah Palin thing I said, and then Bill O'Reilly put it on TV, and we got death threats and stuff.
Death threats constantly.
I don't give a fuck. I just go,
Right.
okay, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
My
He
schedule's on my
invites
website.
them
No, I
to
don't say. I
shows.
just my
It's
schedule's on my
very
website.
obnoxious. We get email death threats often.
Once in a while, not often.
They're
It's
always
toned down a lot.
misspelled.
Yes, right. Yeah, I don't think you're
I'm
going to be
not
able to
worried
figure out
about
the
him
app
finding
to get to the
us,
MapQuest
yeah.
to find the club, so I don't think you're going to make it. I don't think you're going to make it.
You had a tough COVID experience. If you follow Laurie, which you should, it's any Laurie 16 on Twitter. Really, you're so perfectly snarky. It's my favorite brand of humor, and the way that you deal with people that do try and come at you, and when they do, is awesome. You continue to be you and very snarky, so go follow her. But you also live tweet death, which is awesome. My new special is about my mom's cancer, and I was her caregiver for 2 years, and beginning to end. And you live tweeted your dad's death and your mom. Your mom died of COVID, right?
Her album's called 45 Jokes About My Dad.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So I wanted to say that you can go to kilmartin.com. That's where you can check out the book, Dead People Suck. You can see clips. You can go to the album here now, because it's everywhere, right? Amazon, iTunes,
Great cover
Pandora,
photo, by the
Spotify.
way.
Thank you.
I love that.
By the way, yeah.
Kim
It's
Newmoney.
amazing.
She's a photographer.
Also, you're going to be at the Stand November 20th in New York. You're going to be in Austin, Texas, 26th through the 28th.
At the
and
Creek.
Then, December 3rd through 4th, the Comedy Fort in Fort Collins. I
Yeah.
love Fort Collins.
I'm psyched.
So tell us about your mom, and because your mom was a Trump supporter, right?
Yeah, she was a Republican and a Trump supporter, and she was living with me. And
Well, how fun was that while that was going on? Because
Define
being
fun.
a comic, yeah, right.
It was tough. It was good. It was good for my son to live with an elderly person, because we, the elderly are sort of shunted aside. So, I think overall it was good. It was good for her. She was alone in the house before she moved in with me in 2016. And she, during COVID, she had some health problems. She went to the hospital, and then they, because she's super old, her being in the hospital bed for like 4 days, like she lost 90% of her muscle or whatever.
Right.
Instantly.
So they're like, we're going to send you to a skilled nursing facility to get, just to do some rehab. And COVID just swept through it. And I think 11 people on her floor got it and died.
Wow.
Maybe more got it.
How
but
old was she?
She was 82. Yeah. So she died at Huntington Hospital in Pasadena. June 18th, 2020.
But you couldn't be with her because that was
for most
early
of it.
COVID.
My sister and I was tweeting about it so people were paying attention. And my sister is a psychiatrist, and she belongs to a Facebook group of female physicians that's gigantic.
Yeah.
And she wrote a letter, and like 20 million female doctors signed it and sent it to the hospital saying, a lot of people are allowed to be with their, loved ones if they're terminal, and if, you wear the appropriate amount of PPE and all that. So we ended up getting to see her on Monday for like an hour and a half, and we were dressed head to toe, including hands. Like I was holding my mom's hand, but I was wearing plastic gloves.
Yeah.
And then she died on Thursday. So we got to be with her for like an hour and a half, but then she did die alone.
During the hoax.
But you were on FaceTime with
During
her.
the hoax.
During
Yeah.
the hoax.
We're on FaceTime. We're on FaceTime the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. At one point I left. I stopped doing this joke, but because I feel like people will finish it before I finish it. But we were on FaceTime almost 70 hours straight. And I would say 69, but I'm afraid somebody would say nice.
Nice.
I think what happened is I was at a show and I saw like two comics do a noise. I'm like, oh, it's out there. Maybe I'll,
Right.
you know what? But I haven't seen noise in a while, so maybe I'll bring it back.
It's
on
going to
my
be
shows.
throwback now.
But you went out during that time, and I follow you, and you were pretty steadfast and your, like, when everybody would say some shit about COVID, you were like, yeah, let's be clear. And you were about your mom, you were like, she died of COVID. And I just, comedy has this way, while I was my dad, losing a parent is impossible. It's fucking impossible.
Yeah.
Because Ray taught a grounding strap. It's a grounding strap to the earth.
Yeah.
And it's, when that's severed, it's fucking impossible. Dad and my mom. And I didn't know my mom that well, really, but it's impossible. So comedy helped me through it.
Yeah.
How about you?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I mean, when my dad died, that was so shocking to me, because that was my first, luckily at my late age of my life, it was my first big death. It was my dad dying. And I just thought, I think probably everyone feels like this when the first parent dies. Like, wait, I thought you were going to live forever.
Yeah.
What the fuck? It is shocking.
It is.
We need to have first big death parties so people can continue to do like, hey, it's your first big death. Come on, everybody come in. We're
you feel adrift. You feel like you've been lied to almost. And if you ask me, is she going to live forever? I go, of course not. But you kind of think she will.
Your world is so different without that person there. And you can't figure it out.
Right.
You can't imagine it before it happens.
No. And all of a sudden you're grappling with the idea of eternity, which is not something that I've ever really had to think of. Never seeing that person. I don't know. It's been a surreal expence.
There is a void left that is unfillable.
Yes.
And you're always searching for it. And like you and I have conversations. I'll was in the backyard just going, God, I wish I could talk to my dad for 20 minutes.
Yeah, it never goes away.
I just want to talk to him for 20 fucking minutes.
It sucks. I just remember thinking, did my grandma feel this way too? Because I just remember her being super old, but did she, even at 85, did she miss her parents, and because they died really young, and I have no idea.
Of the
my grandma
my
grandma is 88 and she's my mom's mom, and she just had COVID. She's fine.
Wow.
She got the vaccine, but then she got COVID. It lasted for 4 days. The next, 2 weeks later, she had rotator cuff surgery. She's in PT for that, so she can fly here for Thanksgiving week. That's my grandma. Depression, baby. I don't really think that she misses my great grandmother. I don't think she thinks she's very practical. Everything.
People die. That's what happens. People die, you move on.
Yeah. Well, she credits her long life to not worrying about things.
And flossing.
And not the dance.
Does she have her own
teeth? She has all of her own teeth.
At 88?
At 88. She is not missing one tooth, but she will floss in the street outside of a restaurant. I'm not kidding. She's I love it. But she doesn't worry about things. She always tells me, don't borrow trouble if I'm worrying about something, because she says, this generation, we worry about everything. And I do. I had insomnia last night. I'm lying there. I can't sleep. She doesn't, does she? No. She, as she says, motor. She motors on.
So she's born in 33? Mm-hmm. Wow. October. So she was 12 when World War II ended, 13? Mm-hmm.
She came on the podcast. I'm talking about her because everyone knows her. A lot of my material has been about her. But she came on the podcast and talked about the air raids. And,
Where'd she grow up?
Fascinating. North Carolina.
Oh, so she's on the coast.
Mm-hmm. The ovens that you would have to put the coins in, your own oven to make that work. I mean, she told us about all kinds of stuff. It was really fascinating.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. Someone actually wrote in and said that they used that podcast as their homeschool lesson that week.
Oh my God.
Because she talked about that time. But she's fine. She's going to be here next week for a whole week.
Oh, that's really neat.
She's coming first class.
Cool. Oh, that's so great.
Oh, she called the lady and convinced her to give it to her.
Oh, I love it.
So,
guys, with Laurie Kilmartin here on the Titus Podcast, I want you to get her album Corset.
Yep.
Go get it. And by the way, call if you're pissed at your parents and you're a grown human being and you're not talking to them. Talk to them. Call them right fucking now, and whatever you got to say it. But don't let that go. I will tell you this: if you don't, there will be a hole in you for the rest of your life. Get it clean, get it clear, and get on with it. because until you experience it, you don't know what it's like.
And this is coming from someone whose mom killed a guy. So.
Right. She murdered a dude, and I was like, Mom, listen.
Let's get right.
She tried to kill some other people. She only succeeded once that we're aware of.
I didn't make up with Mom because I wanted to get it right. I just don't want her to kill me. I'm like, I just wanted to get off the list. Erased it. So your album, why'd you name it Corset? I only heard half of it. Is it a bit?
Nope, it's not. It was
because that picture. You were like, I'm so hot in this picture.
That is such a beautiful picture.
Isn't it?
I was wearing a corset. Christella Alonso stopped by my house and stayed for 6 hours. She put me in it and she took me out of it. 'Cause she used to do that in theater when she was a theater major at I forget what college she went to, someplace in Texas. But I called it Corset because at that time I was living with an 82-year-old woman and a 12-year-old son, and I felt like I'd been 4 years of that, and I felt like my very breath was being squeezed out of me every day by the pressure, and that each of them was pulling on me a tie from behind. So I thought that was symbolic. And then also, sexy covers sell more than non-sexy covers, which is stupid, but whatever.
We'll deal with that later.
For a time, I was on the iTunes chart, and the only other woman was, although Paula Poundstone's on now, which is, and she's not being sexy, but the only other woman was this act who I have no idea who she is. Her name's Wendy Ho, and her album was called Greatest Shits, and she was on the toilet on the cover, and I'm like, she knows what she's doing. You know what? I respect her. She knows what the audience is.
Yes.
Finger on the pulse, we call that. Finger on the pulse. That's what we say. She's on the toilet.
Know your audience. You can be bitter about the audience, but you can get your album.
Get Corset first, but then get Greatest Shits. And get Staycation, Jackie's album.
Oh, yeah, Jackie's is out now.
Yeah, it just came out today, Staycation.
What makes me mad is I now have to do my new album cover, and I can't do the sitting on the toilet bit.
No, you're man. You're doing it. It's different.
You can do anything you want.
Peeing.
Oh, wow.
Anything. Standing while you're peeing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's not a bad title for
while doing the white power signal. I mean, you could do
all
of that.
You guys.
All of it.
Everything's okay.
So much wealth.
You could rate people and still be in the top 10 comedy albums.
Doesn't that, I have to be honest, it offends me to no end to see these comics, and I, first of all, I don't like this whole bro chapter. I don't fucking like it.
Yeah, I know.
Like Whitney. There's Whitney Brown. There's guys the guys I respect were fucking writers, and they were you're like, holy shit. One of Whitney Brown's jokes, it still kills me, and I remember seeing it when I was like 18. He goes, "Is it the meek shall inherit the earth?" Yeah, well, if they do, I'll push them down and take it. What are you gonna do, you bunch of meeks?
You bunch of meeks. That's great.
It's such a smart and funny and simple. Where would you prefer people get your album? Where would you prefer? If you could pick any place, your website better or
it doesn't matter. I mean, it's available for download on Amazon and iTunes, and I guess wherever else you can download stuff. If you think you might listen to it again, it's only $9.99, and that's like 10 years of my work. Yep. It's a good deal.
Guys, do me a favor. Go
as opposed to streaming on Pandora.
Laurie Kilmartin's Corset. Support the arts. Comedy. People have no concept how fucking hard comedy is and how really hard as good as your comedy is. Yes. Holy shit.
Thanks.
The decades that it takes to write a joke like you write a joke. People, listen to this album, Corset, Laurie Kilmartin. Thank you for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Kilmartin.com.
Kilmartin.com.
Where she's going to be. And any Laurie16 on Twitter. Highly recommend.
Thank you.
Thanks, kid. This way, come towards me a little bit because I've noticed she was lit. There you go. That's better. Better. Yeah. Look at this. Not that.
We can make it if we try.
Guys, welcome to post game with Titus Bombshell and the Highlander. Laurie Kilmartin, she was here. How'd it go? Ken, what'd you say? You were looking from the outside.
From the sidelines, and she was looking great.
Right, insightful.
She threw that pass, and it looked fantastic.
I don't watch sports, boys, so don't know what we're doing here.
We.
She doesn't at all. Neither one of us know anything.
No,
but we had dads that it was mandatory. right?
Oh, you
My
had
dad
dads.
hated- My dad would watch the 49ers.
What's
that was
that
it.
like? Oh, we had dads.
No, that made us watch.
Yeah. Drag racing again, sports where you can die on fire. That's what I always had to watch my whole life, and I'm glad about it.
My dad could be in this room right now, and none of us would know.
Yeah, he might be. You're right. He might be.
My dad is. Yeah, he's just very quiet.
Laurie Kilmartin, very funny. People get Corset.
By the way, I just want to say this episode brought to you by HelloFresh.
Hello, Fresh.
Hello. After that really stupid, cheesy intro,
Hello, Fresh. Hello.
Hello. Love HelloFresh. Have just ordered it. Have ordered the cinnamon pumpkin rolls, or maybe I said that the rolls pumpkin cinnamon.
Rolls? Yeah.
And
For the old Thanksgiving-rooski?
Thanksgiving food week. Grandma's going to be here. Still going to be having food coming in for the whole month of December. Don't have to think about it. Don't care.
Also, because Grandma does this when she visits. What are we having for dinner?
Every day.
Just out of the blue, right around 3:30.
She usually right after she said, "What do we have for lunch?" After I've gotten her something for lunch, her favorite phrase is, "What are we having for dinner?" Which makes my sister go
I
out
can't wait to get to that age.
on her back porch and call me because she's trying not to commit murder. So HelloFresh, they have some really killer stuff right now. You guys just need to go check out.
So now you can go to Grandma now with HelloFresh. You'll be able to go. You'll be able to.
It's just
Hey,
weird.
it is weird. Hey, that is weird. Stop doing that. You're awesome. I'm sorry. Wow.
He was all alone in his little room for a while. He wants to touch too.
I'm going to sit in there.
Stay out of my box. There you go.
Oh, in the puppy bed?
You can now when she goes, "What's for dinner?" You can just go, "Well, Grandma, you have all these choices."
Yeah, no, I'm not going to give her choices because she won't want any choices I give her. She's like a Yorkie. You have to just make the food and put it in front of her and walk away.
Can't you just sell her the hell?
She's like a Yorkie.
Send her the HelloFresh website, and she can make her own menu.
No.
She
You
can set it
don't
up.
know how having a grandma works.
You know what it
That's
is?
not how it
right.
works.
So here's how we start as children and then we end as children, and you never let you. Would you let the 5-year-old? What do you want to eat for dinner?
right.
What do I want?
If I send her to the
Macaroni and
HelloFresh
chocolate?
website, an hour later she'll call me and say all of the contacts have been deleted from her iPhone. I can't send her.
How that happens? Who
Listen. She called me yesterday to tell me that she's like, it sounds like she's in the middle of a desert and she's starving. And she's like, I found your number. I wrote it down the last time this happened. I've deleted all my contacts. No, not I've deleted. My phone has deleted all my contacts again. So I don't know how to make that happen because you have to individually
lot of
delete
work.
each contact. At the bottom of the contact after you hit edit, she again has cleared every single phone number.
I just need to start over. That's all.
I said, you had
Most
to
of
have
these
done
people
it.
are dead anyway.
I did not. That's what she said. I said, no one else is there. Well, that don't matter. I didn't do it. I did nothing. I did no such a thing. That's what she said. And
Does she have a cloud? Did you hook up her iCloud?
Yeah, but does she still? I don't know. I don't know
Let's
what
not even
she
go
has.
there. That's a next
Ray does
level.
a bit where she goes, your tech support in your first special.
Yeah, I don't know how she does any of this, but she somehow is resetting the whole thing. But she said she didn't. Anyway, HelloFresh, don't give your grandma the choices. Order the food. They have like seasonal stuff right now, like chicken ramen in shoyu style broth, which because it's getting cold.
Yep.
They have turkey ragu gnocchi, which sounds awesome,
does
which
sound
I
good.
think grandma would love. She calls it gnocchi though. Gnocchi.
I like the gnocchi.
And then that pumpkin cookie dough, you can order stuff out of the pantry now.
I'm getting hungry just talking about it.
I know.
Only because
I
I know
know
that everything we've ever gotten from HelloFresh, not once have I gone, nah.
Well, you can add on from their marketplace now. So you can get breakfast add-ons, desserts, seasonal snacks. So you have stuff to grab and go in the morning when your grandma's there or whatever. So go check it out.
So every time I eat
Super
HelloFresh,
awesome.
it's like a cheesy commercial. I take a bite and then it's always got a cool name. And I'm like, well, can it match the cool name? And then I take a bite and I do this.
You know what's amazing is it actually looks like the pictures too. Yeah. The big picture on the card you get, it actually does look like the picture. It's awesome. They send you everything's individually portioned for each meal and labeled, and you don't have to go to the grocery store when you're already slammed because it's the holidays. It's even if you were paying full price for HelloFresh without this promo code, it's still 30% cheaper than going to the grocery store and buying it. So you're saving money, and it gets shipped to you, so you don't have to
When you
leave.
order, people, do me a favor, hit us on the contact page on ChristopherTitus.com and tell us what you think. We've got a couple.
Tell
of
us
those.
which ones you love. Yeah. I like knowing what you guys like because then I order it. Go to HelloFresh.com/Titus14 off and use code Titus14 off for up to 14 free meals and 3 gifts. 3 free gifts. They just added that. As though 14 entire family meals is not enough. They add 3 free gifts. So HelloFresh.com/Titus14 off and use promo code Titus14 off.
Perfect.
That's crazy.
HelloFresh, shut up and eat. There you go. That's
Hello.
That's good. Yeah, that's the Armageddon update today was about our new kind of stance that we scream from the Sane Center.
Or like a reaffirmation.
Yeah,
of
well,
our,
it's just kind of point. Well, we always do it. We never nailed it down.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out what is our podcast, and our podcast is basically we respect science and facts, and we call everybody out on their bullshit. Although you said I have to call Biden out on his.
Yeah, I think that you could.
What am I missing?
You could do with a little, refocusing if that's the way that you want to go. I think I definitely lean more centric. I think most people would agree heavily.
You're more eccentric.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
And you tried.
I tried.
Anybody? Here's the problem. I think
Wah, 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 wah.
one extreme is so far extreme that it's no longer. It's so far apt to send it pulled everything else that way. All I think is we should all have free speech. We should all have rights.
Yep.
And we should all have
Hello? Oh, yes.
voting rights.
I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. Hold on. It's for you. It's justification.
Hey, man. Yeah. No. The rights pulled too far right. Yeah. No, it's crazy. Yeah. They tried to take over the country. Yeah. Infrastructure. They talked about it. Never got it done. Yeah. Biden signed it today. They said I'm fucking justified. They said, okay, we're going to let this one go.
Oh, he never just let you talk? Okay. Call him back later. I'll have a talk with him.
Infrastructure got signed today.
I know.
But that's good, though. I mean,
That is good.
He did something, and we got 13 Republicans on board that he said I was going to give you bipartisan legislation, and he did. Now we have people don't even know what's going to happen in the next 2 years. They don't even know what's going to happen. It's going to be insane, and the economy's already moving at 6% growth, and people are mad because of inflation. So you get inflation when things are kicking ass. That's what happened.
It's not a good thing, though. You have reasons for everything.
No,
but it's when people are having to decide between having food or gas to get to work.
Agree.
That's a problem. That's not. It might be working well for you, but it's not for everyone.
It's not just because the country's growing. Because what happened was when the pandemic hit, it shut everything down. OPEC stopped producing oil. They shut it way down.
Yes.
All these companies stopped producing chips for cars. People weren't buying cars, so they cut all this production because the pandemic was handled so shit. And now all of a sudden so Biden kicks on with the vaccines. We open up again. Everything starts. People try to go right back to their lives because that's what we wanted. And because you can't just fucking turn the shit back on. That's what's happening. I mean, it's not because Biden caused inflation. It's because
main
there's
causes
more
of
demand than supply
inflation
now.
are either excess aggregate demand, which is economic growth is too fast, or cost push factors, which is supply side factors. And
That's what we have
interestingly,
now.
we have both because our economic growth is happening too fast. It's not just because of Biden. It's because we came out of being completely shut down, and now we're open, and also supply side because we were shut down for a year.
it's like they opened up a Travis Scott concert with one security guy.
Exactly.
Everyone is, that's what happened. Things are going wrong. Yeah, because fucking look how we did this.
A lot of people died and nobody cared.
It's hard. It's also you have to have an open mind then if you're going to be screaming from the center about how that's something that needs to be addressed and how debilitating that is for some families right now.
I get that. It's hard, but I mean, you have to remember why it's happening. It's not happening because Biden fucked up. It's happening because Biden opened the economy again, and we had all these companies that started producing shit again, and it takes a minute to get that going. And we can't, there's fucking hundreds of ships sitting off the coast of Long Beach right now trying to unload shit. And that's because the other guy stopped that shit. But I will say this: it's almost been a year. It's time to get this shit moving. I get it. We can only blame that guy. I'll give you a year, as I did, with Trump. The economy's booming, dude. You've been in 3 weeks.
You never gave him any.
He didn't deserve any. He actually claimed. No, he didn't. He claimed the stock market was at a record 3 weeks into his presidency. When Obama, the numbers were exactly Obama's numbers. You can't just fucking hit the.
Well, he did hit a record under his presidency, but that has now been surpassed.
Eclipsed, yes.
Well, he started taking credit for things before he even became president.
Yeah.
Like just the idea that I'm going to be president is going to get people motivated.
Right. But you guys do know when people do fuck up, I call it out. It's not, I am not backing up the left at all. I am really not. I think I always say this, when it comes to voting rights, with voting rights and stuff, they've been pussies. They've really been pussies about it. They're not standing up for it. That the infrastructure got through, they did what they said. Now, my thing is this: the other one side is playing hardball. They're like, the Republicans have no problem going, we're together. Let's fucking vote it. And then so when the Democrats are like, well, we want to keep the country calm and sane and stuff, like sometimes you gotta.
They flounder.
If those guys have bats and you're bringing paperwork, you're going to get your ass kicked. Sometimes you got to pick up a bat too, or give them paperwork. That slows everybody down. God damn it, paperwork. I'm just saying that I'm more than willing to call anybody out. I think the biggest problem the Democrats have right now is they're being pussies. They're just being pussies. And then you've got, and also Citizens United, because you can pay cinema and all you have to do, when it's 50-50 Senate, all you have to do is just cut 2 fucking people from the herd, pay them enough money in a Cayman's bank account, and fucking they'll fuck it up. And that's what happened. When you can tell me what the right does great, I'll be the first guy to back it up. If trickle-down economics worked, I'd be the first guy to be saying it would. But I get it.
I don't consider Donald Trump the right. I think everything about him is wrong. He wasn't experienced in anything ever since the beginning of time, any job, except being super sleazy and super cheesy and super trashy and all those things that we made fun of him for 60 something years before he became president. I'm more talking about him aside, which is hard to put him aside now.
Yeah, but I feel like, don't we feel like the right needs to just go, sorry about him, we fucked up.
They're not.
They put him in. That side put him in. A lot of people still
support him. That's what I don't fathom. But
and they're all rocket scientists that support him.
Actually, there are. I mean, there are some intelligent people that support him. They think that he did great things. A lot of his policies on women, for example, things that, sadly to say, Ivanka was heading up.
He says he likes to grab policy.
So look, it's not him. I think we all know.
Yeah, he likes to date policy.
I think we all know that he
can do anything, grab him by the policy.
Didn't have anything to do with any of it. It was other people that were doing jobs under him. I think we all know that he ate hamburgers in bed and watched news coverage of himself all day and tweeted nonstop. But because I think they're associating that with his administration,
but I get
if you could call it that.
I get what you're saying. You have to be open to call it side. But when I see something like Mitch McConnell going, Obama can't put in a Supreme Court justice within a year of his presidency ending, and then Mitch McConnell does it 6 weeks before Trump ends. It's just bullshit.
Look, dude, he played the game. Don't hate the player, hate the game. He played the game, and here's the problem: Democrats won't play the game.
That's what you're saying.
Strategery. And so
but it's not a good thing, though.
They're like, okay, we can't do it. Okay.
If the left
and
is
then
saying, hey,
he
they're
does
cheating,
it, and they don't stop him. It's just, that's what I mean. You got to know your opponent, and they
what I'm
don't.
Saying. Show up with baseball bats. It's the Warriors. Come out to play. That's the Republicans, and you got to show up with bats, and they're not showing up with bats. And
Mitch McConnell, can you do that as Mitch McConnell? Because that will be, come on.
Warriors. Come out to play.
This episode also brought to you by Logitech.
Yay! I love these guys.
Now we all need them right now.
Yeah, exactly. Wish I'd have had mine in when he screamed like that.
Most comfortable earbuds I've ever owned.
Don't fall out in the airplane like the other ones I wore.
Don't fall out anywhere when you're running. They don't, because they're mold to your own ear specifically. It's your own ear print.
Yeah. Someone sent me a video because they bought them from I used the code, and they showed them going because it's light activated. And
so you open them once light hits them. So don't open them until you're ready.
Yeah.
It's like an old photo.
Put them in, and then it turns. It's a purple LED that lights up, right, and it heats up, and it molds to the inside of your ear specifically. It's crazy.
Yep, it's pretty badass.
What happened in the video? Anything?
It was just watching. It was just it was blinking on his ears, and it was like the lights in his ears, and it was like, it's cool. Just film yourself doing it if you do it.
You could wear them all day long without them hurting. The other ones that I used to have really, really start giving me a headache.
Well, the other ones I used to use fall out, and they fall out in the airplane, and they
constantly.
They go 2 seats in front of me, and I'm like, I can find a tiny little white thing. What?
It's in a baby's mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
8 hours of continuous playback on one single charge and up to 20 hours with the charging case. Ultimate Ears Fits earbuds are perfect for listening to your favorite show, like this podcast, all day long.
People try them out. They're awesome. They're awesome.
They're built they use the expertise of people in the music industry and stuff, people that actually know, like Pooch, our friend, pro musicians, hi-fi enthusiasts. Anyway, it's an awesome, full, warm sound. It's not that tinny, bad sound where you're pushing them in, trying to hear the bass at all.
That's what I had to do on the plane.
It's the best sound of any earbud I've ever used too. And you can download the app and set your own EQ.
You can actually work while things are in your ears. You can actually adjust the sound on your phone. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. You can play and pause music and answer calls with built-in controls in the earbuds, or use the free app to set custom actions like use a voice assistant, volume adjustment, everything else. If you try them, you don't love them as much as we do, don't worry about it. They give you a 30-day money-back guarantee, plus you get free shipping, free returns, and a 1-year warranty.
What?
Yeah, right? Those are people that are like, no, we know you're going to like this product. Yeah. We're not even scared. So for a limited time, perfect time for Christmas too. Yep. Really cool present to give to someone. And then they'll be like, oh, earbuds, that's cool. And then go, no, open the package.
Yeah. And download the app. Yeah. You can adjust the bass on your phone. What?
No, but just that whole thing that it does to form to your ear is so cool.
Pretty cool.
Limited time, get 15% off your pair of Ultimate Ears Fits true wireless earbuds at ue.com/fits. Just use promo code Titus at checkout. That's 15% off with promo code Titus at ue.com/fits.
So we rebranded the podcast. Mm-hmm. We are, and I want you guys to remember this, Screaming from the Sane Center. We are actually going to let everybody know that all your bullshit's going to be called out. When someone freaks out on the left about something that is fucking meaningless, we're calling it out. Stop bringing up the shit that doesn't make, something yesterday happened where I was like, they were bitching and bitching and bitching. And I have a question. CNN did a thing last night about Kamala Harris. They said this. Seems that aides aren't getting along, and there's trouble in the vice president's office, and the aides aren't getting along with the aides at the White House. There was no incident. There was nothing happened. There was nothing went wrong. Mm-hmm. They just said the rumor is, and they did a special on it on CNN.
Next on Washington Real World.
Yeah,
they're just making shit up.
But why though? Like it's because she's a black woman in the
because it's a 24-hour news cycle, and they have to fill 24 hours a day. Yeah.
But why go after someone? Nothing's really happened yet. Like I didn't quite get it.
Did you see Bannon when he came out of the courthouse today?
He looked good, didn't he?
No, wow. But did you hear the speech? It was very threatening, I thought, and very like,
Pelosi,
you messed
Biden.
with the wrong person.
Yeah.
That's what I was
really,
like, really?
Big, doughy, fat guy with a sore on his neck and a missing
with
lower
almost
tooth.
Man hair.
Yeah, really, dude. Yeah, I would give you $20 if I walked by you on the street.
You messed with the, the wrong guy.
Yeah.
He came in.
Wow, you almost nailed it.
He came in with an entire live stream crew following him for his show. Yeah.
Well, you got to admit, I mean, what people don't get about Bannon, and I don't know how this disappeared so fast, because if anybody on the left had done this, Fox would be talking about it 24/7. The man did a donation to Build the Wall Fund. They raised $20 million or someone made 10 was some crazy.
It was a lot.
And embezzled it. They basically took it. Nothing got sent to the wall. No wall was built, and they arrested him. The Postal Service police arrested him on a yacht that they were renting with the money. The Postal Service has its own police force.
They have a police force?
I didn't know that. And they wear little shorts. That's what they wear, shorts, and they have black socks.
They have a little truck.
And
they come jumping out.
And safari hats.
Safari.
And dogs always attack them.
Yeah, they're very nice about it. But he flat out ripped off all these Trump supporters. And
yes.
nobody said shit about it. I don't get it. How did you guys not? How come they're not screaming from the rooftops? He ripped off millions of dollars. I don't quite understand.
I guess because that's not news. We already know he's a piece of shit.
But what's happening now is even CNN is equating the behavior of the left to what just happened with trying to take over the country and stage an insurrection, and that's what's weirding me out. I actually want to hear something weird. I DM'd Chris Cuomo. No. I know. I actually wrote him something on Twitter, Chris Cuomo, and I called him out because he let some guy. He was doing the split screen thing, and one guy was like, "Well, Bannon. It's really weird that they're bringing Bannon in on a subpoena thing because they've never done it before." And the other guy goes, "Yeah, it's unprecedented. They shouldn't be bringing Bannon in. It's not. It's never been done before. It shouldn't be done." And Cuomo just said, "Well, it's never been done. That's weird. Do you think that they're going after him?" And I'm screaming at the TV. They tried to overthrow the fucking country. They tried to install it. Yeah, it's never happened before because you know why? It's fucking never happened before, you assholes. Yeah. And so I tweeted to Chris Cuomo about that, and he DMs me, Chris Cuomo from CNN, and he says, he was like, "Dude, I sit there. I'm doing my best." I called him out for it, and I said, "You did." I said, "You need to call him out. We are in an unprecedented situation, and you need to call the left out for not reacting, and you call the right out for saying it doesn't need to be done." And I said, "You're one of the good guys, man. Keep being that." And then he wrote me back. He said K. He just put K in the heart. So I got a heart from Chris Cuomo. Kind of proud of you. I know. I'm kind of happy about that.
Are you guys together now?
No, we're not. No, we like each other.
You like?
Blue. Guys, so I want to thank Laurie Kilmartin for being on the podcast today. I want you to tell people about the podcast. Do me a favor. If you haven't subscribed already, go subscribe on YouTube. You can watch us, our pretty faces, and Highlander. You can... His head, he did this. I saw this at the corner of my head. It was perfectly timed, dude.
I know I look like a scraggly hobo, but
scruffy. It's a good look. It's a little scruffy.
It is unruly.
I
don't know. I sound like Johnny Carson. Unruly.
You make people skittish.
It smells good. Doesn't look good.
Yeah. So so do me a favor. Tell people to let people know that we're going to call everybody out the best we can, clean. And there's so many people in the center that just don't have a voice. We just want to get to work. Let's get our shit done. Our job is to be that voice. Am I right?
Right.
That was so sad. Wow, but the cameras almost turned off. The energy was so low. The cameras were like, are we done? And there's no light. We have no light at all. Anyways, guys, keep watching. Thank you for watching on YouTube at Christopher Titus TV. Thank you for listening on Libsyn and all the other platforms.
You can see us this weekend.
Oh, holy crap. Yeah, this weekend we have a gig.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we're going to be at the Milwaukee Improv, brand new club, 5 shows. Please come out to that.
Brand new material, both of us.
Yep.
Her material, kicking ass. So my material, genius. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're nodded. I was waiting for the insult. You were like, okay.
No, I agree.
So go to ChristopherTitus.com if you want anything. We're going to be doing a Black Friday sale on Black Friday for DVD box sets. Our new T-shirts are coming in. We got a new order. We sold out all of our T-shirts, so there's a new order now for Christmas. So do that. You want to say anything? Get Highlander's album, Misanthropic.
Yep.
It's kicking ass.
It is. Is it doing well?
Yeah, it's doing great.
Good.
Yeah.
I love it.
Got a lot of good feedback.
It's on iTunes.
iTunes, Spotify.
Everywhere.
Oh, it's all everywhere.
What's my favorite track on that? What's it?
Double Down?
Double Down. God, do I love Double Down.
Thank
what
you,
a
sir.
good song that is.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it'll end up in our next movie.
Boom.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, all right. Anyways, guys, thanks. For myself, Bombshell Ray, and the Highlander. Later.
Peace out. I don't think we have any music left.
I'll
So
put some Willing Bureau music in.
I think that you should sign off with an Australian accent.
All right. For myself.
Not you, him.
Right. Go ahead.
It could be only one.
Wow, you were a Beatle.
That's a little bit.
That was Ringo. You just did Ringo.
It's just a name, you know.
So, guys, you need to send us messages and tell us what you want us to do to Highlander for the next 6 months for his sign
I
off.
think he needs to come up with. We can do improv haikus. Is what I think. Where you give him a subject and he has to do a haiku about it and count it out.
575.
He's like, fuck you guys.
Jesus Christ.
No, fuck you guys would only be 3 syllables. So
It can only be one, you know.
there can be.
Peace, guys.